And joining us now is former Homeland Security Secretary Jeh Johnson. Good to see you, Mr. Secretary. Thanks for coming on.
Thanks, Anna.
So what is your reaction first to the new reporting on the bollards that are being installed? And what concerns do you have about security as it pertains to the Super Bowl and potential copycats?
Well, first, I never like to second guess security that was in place before an attack like this. The way I look at it is that there are always lessons that can be learned from an incident like a terrorist attack like New Orleans. What about the bollards? Why weren't they in place at the time? Why weren't more fortified areas? If you go in New York City, for example, right here in this neighborhood, you will see barricades on the sidewalks as well as in the streets.
Well, even these new bollards, reportedly, that they're installing can only withstand a car moving at 10 miles per hour. If you look at that video, you saw that truck moving much faster.
And I suspect that was probably more a matter of funding, a lack of funding, which needs to be reassessed. As to the Super Bowl is a well-worn security event. It is an NSSE, a National Special Security event, between DHS, local law enforcement, state-level law enforcement. We know how to secure a Super Bowl, whether it's in New Orleans or MetLife Stadium or California. So I have a lot of confidence in the security around that. More challenging is the immediate area. But if history is a guide, you tend not to see a terrorist attack in the exact same place where one occurred, say, a month before. I used to tell my people at DHS, plan for the next potential attack. Don't plan for the last one. We always have to think ahead. We always have to imagine the unimaginable. And there are lessons learned from New Orleans, without a doubt. It's a tragic loss of life. You hate to see an event like that shattered on New Year's Eve. I'm glad the president is going there today. He knows how to empathize with loss, obviously. And we move on and we do the best we can.
Well, as we move forward and thinking about the potential threat that could still exist, and I keep thinking about the possibility of ISIS tentacles here in the U.S. and where things stand right now. We do know that authorities are looking into the attacker's travel. He went to Egypt and Canada last year, whether that factored into his radicalization. But we know with the internet, you don't need to travel to be influenced by foreign terror groups. I just wonder, when this attacker makes a video saying, I am now a member of ISIS, how official was that?
That's a red flag, without a doubt. And the challenge for law enforcement, our national security community, is to be able to see that red flag fast enough to intervene. As you alluded to, Anna, there are things called terrorist-directed attacks, where a foreign terrorist organization will direct an operative to come to the United States and carry out a large-scale attack like a 9/11. And then there are what we refer to as terrorist-inspired attacks, where a lone actor already here in the United States, even a United States citizen born in Texas, will be inspired by a group like ISIS to carry out an attack like that. Those are particularly challenging because a lone actor can often radicalize in secret, in their basement, in their garage, and carry out an attack on almost no notice.
The current DHS Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas was asked about the ISIS threat and whether there have been any changes related to that since Assad was ousted from Syria. Here he was on ABC this weekend.
We're very concerned about the instability that has resulted from that, and whether, in fact, it creates some space for the reemergence of ISIS in Syria. And ISIS continues to seek to radicalize individuals outside of the Middle East and throughout the world, and that is something that we are, of course, also very focused on.
Are we seeing a reemergence of ISIS and its ideology?
Anytime a regime like the Assad regime, even an Assad regime, collapses in Syria, you have to worry about the possibility that a terrorist organization like ISIS could reestablish a caliphate, a place to train, to recruit, to plan, to organize, where its leaders can hide. But we also have to be concerned, as I said a moment ago, about terrorist-inspired attacks. You don't need a caliphate to inspire a lone actor here in the United States to carry out a large-scale terrorist attack. I'm concerned that we are in a new environment now where ISIS may feel emboldened to encourage people in the United States, Europe, elsewhere to carry out attacks like this. So our intelligence community, our law enforcement community, our national security community really does need to double down. It's not business as usual. We've got major security events coming up, like the Super Bowl, and be extra vigilant in this environment.